Hi friends. Everyone is welcome to EduStar. If you are watching the channel for the first time, please subscribe. Share the fever with your friends and relatives. Today's video is Kerala Syllabus 9th Standard English Medium Social Science First Chapter. In this video we will learn only the short notes of this chapter. So let's go to the video. Unit 1. Medieval World Centers of Power. Medieval World Centers of Power discusses the different power centers that existed in different parts of the world. The chapter presents the powerful nations spread over various continents. Instead of adopting the method of analyzing a Europe-centric medieval history, this chapter has tried to record in an objective manner the growth and development of the medieval world in various fields. Unit 1. Medieval World Centers of Power. The period between the 5th and the 15th centuries CE is known as the medieval period. But the term medieval period does not refer to the same period all over the world. Even though the political structure of the medieval world was similar, there were differences in the forms of authority and they were different in Europe, Asia, Africa and America during the medieval period. What are the characteristic features of the medieval world? The period between the 5th and 15th centuries CE is known as the medieval period. The political structure of the medieval world was similar, but there were differences in the forms of authority. They were different in Europe, Asia, America, and Africa. Eastern Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was the largest ancient empire. For administrative convenience, the into in the 4th century CE. The Western Roman Empire with the capital at Rome and the Eastern Roman Empire with its capital at Constantinople, earlier known as Byzantium. Hence the Eastern Roman Empire was otherwise called the Byzantine Empire. Observe the map of the Eastern Roman Empire and find out the regions of West Asia, Europe and Africa included in it with the help of an atlas. Prepare a list of the countries in which they are located. The observation of Will Durant about Justinian, the famous Eastern Roman Emperor, is given above. The greatest contribution of Justinian is the codification of all the existing Roman laws into a code of law, Corpus Juris Civilis. Justinian's code is based on the principles of reasoning, justice and generosity. Many nations adopted it for framing their laws. Justinian's code also served as the base for the code of law of the French ruler, Napoleon. The Holy Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire with its capital at Rome came to an end due to the continuous invasions of the Germanic tribes. Emperor of the Frankish Empire was Charlemagne of the Carolingian dynasty. The empire of Charlemagne was larger than the Eastern Roman Empire. Observe the world map and list the present European countries that were part of the Holy Roman Empire: Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Germany, Bulgaria, Serbia, Austria, Romania. The Arab Empire. The region which included Iraq and Saudi Arabia was known as Arabia. The Arabs made outstanding contributions to the medieval world. The most famous ruler of the Abbasid dynasty was Harun al-Rashid. As a benevolent ruler, he implemented many welfare measures. It was during his period that hospitals were established in Arabia for the first time. Observe the map of Arabia and locate the following places. In which countries are they now? Makkah, Medina, Damascus, Baghdad. 1. Makkah, Saudi Arabia. 2. Medina, Saudi Arabia. 3. Damascus, Syria. 4. Arabia, Iraq. Why is it said that Harun al-Rashid was different from other medieval rulers? Harun al-Rashid was the most famous ruler of the Abbasid dynasty. He implemented many welfare measures. Hospitals were established in Arabia for the first time. Judicial administration was based on the principles of Islam and the rule of law was strictly observed. The people were free to travel anywhere in the empire without fear. Established contacts with the Holy Empire, the Ottoman Empire. With the capture of Constantinople in 1453 CE by the Turkish leader Muhammad II, the Ottoman Empire was strengthened. By then many territories of Eastern Roman Empire had become a part of the Ottoman Empire. Observe the map of the world and list the regions which were part of the Ottoman Empire. Alexandria, Jerusalem, Damascus, Constantinople, Athens, Belgrade, Makkah, Medina, Tripoli, Salonika. The Mongol Empire. The Mongols were nomads who lived in tents. There were different tribes among the Mongols who always roamed around on horses. It was Genghis Khan who unified them and founded the Mongolian Empire. The seat of Genghis Khan was at Karakoram, on the banks of the river Onon, in Siberia. Observe the map given and find out the continents in which the Mongolian Empire was spread over. Asia, Europe. The chief characteristic feature of the Mongol army was its strong cavalry. Genghis Khan arranged his army in the multiples often. The main attraction of the army was the small cannons which could be used while sitting on horseback. Genghis Khan also maintained a well-organized espionage. To connect the distant places of the empire with the administrative center, the Mongolians introduced postal system using horses. This communication system was known as the courier. The courier system of Genghis Khan was speedy and effective. The Mali Empire. Discuss the economic and cultural development of medieval Africa on the basis of Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was one of the famous empire of medieval Africa. The center of administration was Mali in West Africa. Kankan Musa was a famous ruler of medieval Africa who is known in European records as Mansa Musa. Timbuktu in the Empire of Mali was the most important cultural and commercial center of medieval Africa. Merchants from Venice, Granada and Genoa reached Timbuktu for marketing their merchandise, such as gold and ivory. It was also a center of slave trade. The University of Timbuktu was one of the leading centers of knowledge of that period. The university attracted students from all parts of the world. The Great Mosque, constructed by Kankan Musa at Timbuktu, was the leading center of Islamic studies during the medieval period. China and Japan. China and Japan were the countries in Asia where efficient administrative system existed during the medieval period. Compare the forms of power that existed in medieval China and Japan. China and Japan were the countries in Asia where efficient administrative system existed during the medieval period. In the initial stage of the medieval period, China was ruled by the Tang dynasty. The sovereignty of the country was vested in the emperor. State officials were selected after conducting competitive examinations based on the criteria of education and excellence. The Tang rulers were tolerant towards all regions and were great promoters of trade and commerce. After the Tang dynasty, China was ruled by the Song, Ming and Manchu dynasties. In medieval Japan also, the emperor was the supreme head in political affairs. But the administration was overhauled by the feudal lords known as shoguns. Land was under their control. It was under the shoguns that Tokyo emerged as the center of power. Medieval America. From ancient time onwards, indigenous civilizations prevailed in both North and South America. These civilizations continued to exist in the medieval period also. The administrative systems in these regions were purely indigenous. Decline of feudalism. The socio-political economic system existed in medieval Europe based on land was known as feudalism. What are the causes that led to the decline of feudalism? Decline in agricultural production due to climate change. Outbreak of famine in many parts of Europe. The continuous occurrence of plague, known as Black Death, wiped off nearly half of the population of Europe. The Crusades shattered many of the feudal lords. The monopoly of gunpowder enabled the kings to suppress feudal lords. The new middle class that emerged as a result of the growth of trade also helped the rulers to subdue the feudal lords. The outbreak of many peasant revolts and wars in different parts of Europe weakened the lords and strengthened the authority of the kings. If you understand this chapter, thanks for watching the video. Thank you.